Bombshell leaked document is panicking Democrats as it threatens to implode the entire case, this flimsy, pathetic case against President Trump. We're going to take a look at what precisely this letter reveals, how fatal it may be to the prosecution, and why we may be looking at the utter collapse of this partisan witch hunt. We may have just learned why the rabid left-wing Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg has yet to indict former President Donald Trump, despite a week of reports and speculation that he would do so. The Daily Mail obtained a leaked letter sent to federal authorities in 2018 where Michael Cohen, the now disbarred and disgraced former attorney President Trump, who's the New York DA's star witness, if you can believe it, explicitly denied receiving reimbursement from Donald Trump or his organization for making hush money payments to porn star Stormy Daniels. The letter, which was written on Cohen's behalf by his attorney Stephen M. Ryan and sent to the Federal Elections Committee, reads as follows, and I quote, "In a private transaction 2016, before the U.S. presidential election, Mr. Cohen used his own personal funds to facilitate a payment of $130,000 to Ms. Stephanie Clifford." Now, that's Stormy Daniels' real name. "Neither the Trump organization nor the Trump campaign was a party to the transaction with Ms. Clifford, and neither reimbursed Mr. Cohen for the payment directly or indirectly." Now, this revelation, of course, utterly shatters Cohen's change of tune when he recently testified before the Manhattan grand jury that Trump instructed him to pay $130,000 to Stormy Daniels to prevent her from revealing their alleged affair just days before the 2016 presidential campaign. And again, keep in mind, just to underscore how flimsy and brittle of a case this is, there's nothing wrong with Trump having done that, even if Cohen's change of story is true. Let that hit you, okay? Even if what Cohen is now saying is true, it's still not a crime. What this partisan Manhattan DA is trying to do is he's trying to convict Trump of paying that money solely in relation to covering it up for the campaign, which would entail a campaign finance violation, which is a federal crime. The problem with that's virtually impossible to prove. How do you prove Trump's intentions were limited solely to the campaign? And again, keep in mind the Justice Department looked into doing just that, and they blew it off. So this Manhattan DA Bragg is trying to prove a federal crime that the Justice Department didn't think worthy of a charge. But now we have the leaked letter written to that very agency, the Federal Elections Commission, that shows unequivocally that their chief witness, Michael Cohen, is either lying then or he's lying now. Now, this bombshell revelation comes on the heels of yesterday's embarrassing announcement that the grand jury meeting scheduled for Wednesday afternoon to consider indicting President Trump had been canceled, and it was canceled without explanation. But Fox News reported that sources were confirming that the meeting was canceled precisely because of, quote, major dissensions within the district attorney's office. One source claimed that Bragg is having trouble convincing the grand jury on potential charges just due to the obvious flimsiness and weakness of the case. And my namesake, Jonathan Turley, is noting that if Bragg is getting pushback from the grand jury, that's huge. Gang, keep in mind, grand juries tend to rubber stamp whatever prosecutors put before them. The old saying is that a good prosecutor can get a grand jury to indict a ham sandwich. They don't particularly care. If the prosecution presents them with a case, the jury generally assumes merit to it. Otherwise, why present it? So if Bragg is getting this kind of pushback from the grand jury, it only amplifies the notion that this is an extraordinarily weak and flawed case. It's also no coincidence that this pushback and delay comes after the grand jury heard testimony from attorney Robert Costello. Now, that is Michael Cohen's ex-attorney, and Costello said that he revealed upwards of 300 emails that the grand jury had not seen. This radically partisan DA had not shown them the emails, and according to Costello, they all contradict Michael Cohen. And so that may have had a real impact here. Now, the Daily Wire is reporting that this 2018 letter, where Michael Cohen denies Trump had anything to do with this, and that was also not shown to the grand jury. And this is precisely why Marjorie Taylor Greene is calling for this DA's arrest, because he's deliberately hiding exculpatory evidence. And all of this is just the tip of the iceberg, frankly, of how pathetic of a case this really is. You're not going to believe this. But gang, first, I have to ask you, how much money do you think you would save in interest payments if you could pay off your mortgage in 5 to 7 years without any change in your current income? Would that not be amazing, right? Well, amazing is just a click away. You have got to click on that link below and visit Replace Your Mortgage, featuring the one and only Michael Lush. Michael is showing patriots by the thousands how you can build your own personal wealth, your own personal parallel economy, so you're no longer dependent on woke businesses for your financial future. Check him out. Click on that link below. Book a free consultation call with Michael. He's one of us. He's going to show you how to pay off that mortgage in 5 to 7 years. He's here to serve you, and it's absolutely amazing. What we know now, as reported by the New York Post, is that Trump did in fact pay Cohen $420,000. It was paid by Trump or Trump's trust. And according to federal prosecutors, that money did include $130,000 for the Stormy Daniels payment, as well as some other work that Cohen did for Trump. Now, the sticky part in all of this is that while non-disclosure agreements are perfectly legal, the potential problem for Trump centers around how his company categorized that reimbursement. The payment was listed as a legal expense based on a retainer agreement with Cohen. However, the problem, as I understand it, the problem here is there's no record of a retainer agreement, and the reimbursement wasn't related to any discernible legal services from Cohen. So all of this means in the end is that you have a potential misdemeanor of falsifying business records. That's it. Nothing more. The only way this thing could have some teeth to it is if prosecutors found that Trump not only intentionally falsified his business records, but did so in order to hide or conceal a second crime, something else entirely. That would elevate the misdemeanor to a felony. And that is where this whole accusation of campaign finance violation comes in, accusing Trump of paying Daniels off to hide it from his campaign. But once again, not only does the Manhattan DA not have jurisdiction over trying a federal crime, but the institution that does, the Justice Department, is on record as saying this case has no merit. That's how utterly insane this whole partisan circus is. So, we'll see what happens. But as of the making of this video, sources are saying that the New York grand jury is supposed to reconvene around noon today, Thursday. But what does it matter in the end? This is one of the most horrific examples of weaponized legalism imaginable. This case is riddled with corruption all the way through, and there's no way any of us are ultimately going to stand for this. As always, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. You'll definitely want to check out my latest video on how Russia and China are literally destroying the woke liberal world. You're not going to want to miss that. So make sure to click on the link, and I'll see you over there. God bless.